Fasting in the Jewish religion, founded on ancient and spontaneous customs, it is almost identical to the ideals of fasting in the Bible. But why is it significant? Why is it important? What is its meaning and influence on religious knowledge? For a greater insight on Jewish fasting, we delved into the popular and private implications of fasting. So some popular fasts include Yom Kippur and Tisha B'Av, and private fasts occur when the Torah is dropped. Traditionally, all members in the room must fast for 24 hours, or the day of Jewish marriage and on the anniversary of the death of a parent or loved one. Although fasting is more of a communal experience found in the Jewish religion that emphasizes, obviously, community, I delved deeper into the personal reflection and fasted for one day from sundown to the next day when the 3 stars appeared in the sky. So I felt more physically attached to myself, and I was able to focus more on the ways on which I was acting during the day. The times when I was supposed to be eating breakfast, lunch, and dinner, I had more time to focus on schoolwork and work that I needed to catch up on. It didn't very much impact me emotionally, but I did find that obviously physically it did make me hungry, but I was fine. Hello, Ori Soltes. Thank you for speaking with us today. We are investigating fasting and its implications in the Jewish faith. So we have some questions that we'd like you to answer. So the first one is, where did fasting originate in the Jewish culture, and why did it occur at this place and time?
Well, it's hard to say exactly when and where it originated, but 2 things come very quickly to mind. One is that there is a prescription in the Torah, the Pentateuch, the 5 books of Moses, Genesis, Exodus, Leviticus, Numbers, Deuteronomy, that the 10th day of the 7th month be treated as a sacred festival. And how that ends up being interpreted eventually when there is Judaism is a 25-hour fast. The second event will be the destruction of the temple, and so fasts will be associated with the commemoration of that event as well. Probably all of this then somewhere in the 2nd century beginning to develop.
Okay. So do the roots of fasting evidently affect the way Jewish culture approaches fasting in the modern world, or has the view changed?
I would say the view of fasting hasn't changed. Traditionalists fast probably pretty much as Jews have for centuries. What has changed is that there is an ever-increasing number of Jews who don't fast because they think that it's not significant for how they practice their form of faith.
Have there been any significant changes in the tradition of fasting? For example, the mood of the fast, additional fasting periods, or exceptions to the rule?
I would say that pretty consistently the rules have been the same. If you're ill, if you're too young, if you're too old, you're not expected to fast. In fact, you're commanded not to because you're not supposed to endanger your health. So that, above all, your health is what prevails. So if you think of the mood of the fast or additional fasting period, in the modern era there are plenty of people and traditions in which there is a fast, say to cleanse the body, that sort of thing. That's never part of the matrix in Jewish thinking. It's really about forcing myself not to do what as an animal with a body I ordinarily do because I need to do it. I need to feed myself. So willing myself for a full day not to do that, to focus on my soul, not my body, that's the Day of Atonement. Praying instead of eating. Or in the case for some Jews, of fasting in commemoration of the destruction of the temple as a kind of act of mourning. Again, if there's a difference in the current era, it's that there were probably fewer people engaged in fasts, and particularly in the mourning for the temple kind of fast. There are some people who believe, for example, traditional Jews, that after 1967, when the Israelis won that war and Jerusalem was reunified under Israeli control, that the validity of fasting in commemoration and mourning for the temple no longer existed. Not everyone agrees with that. Not everyone agreed in the first place that we should be fasting on that day. Everyone agrees we should be fasting on the Day of Atonement, except that there are plenty of Jews who don't.
Okay. I'm going to add a personal twist to this one.
Yeah.
How does fasting influence your knowledge of the Jewish religion? And how does it shape how you approach other situations not relating specifically to your religion?
Well, one of the things that I think about, in part because this is stuff that I teach, I guess, and write about, is the way fasting is a universal kind of idea that you find differently articulated in different traditions. If the Day of Atonement in Judaism is a 25, not a 24-hour fast, because you want to make extra sure that you don't somehow shortchange God, right? So you fast for 25, not 24 hours. The mode of fasting in Islam is completely different. You fast for an entire month, but it's from sunrise to sunset. You have fasts in the Christian religion, but the main, I would say, equivalent of that, and it's not all branches of Christianity, is Lent, where you're not fasting, but for 40 days you're giving up something that is gastronomically special. And every tradition, I think, has some form of a fast mechanism that is intended to play the same sort of role, that takes you out of your normal pattern of being in the world, causing you to sort of stop to think about things differently, and to accentuate and emphasize your emotional, psychological, and spiritual side, and not your physical and material side.
So would you relate that to like a sense of enlightenment or cleansing in any way?
Yeah, I mean, but it's really a spiritual cleansing. Whereas there are plenty of people in today's world who fast. You know, I know people who fast once a week, and it's supposed to be a cleansing, but it's all physical, it's all hygienic, it's all about their bodies. And the whole point of the fast in religion is that it's not about your body. It's about emphasizing your ability to ignore your body in favor of your soul. It's spiritual cleansing and not physical cleansing that's intended.
Okay, thank you for giving us the opportunity to second-handedly observe the insights of yourself.
You bet, my pleasure.
As Ori said, there's a large question ethically. Is it ethical to enforce a standard that all religious members must participate regardless of health issues, infancy, or pregnancy? In the Jewish faith, they urge people who have health issues, are infants or are pregnant, to not fast, but to take the time to eat and to reflect at other times during the day on the spiritual parts of their religion. So we found that it is not unethical to enforce a standard. Yeah, to close things up, my group has found that fasting has one of the largest implications on the Jewish faith, as it encompasses both emotional, mental, and physical, the apparatus of every person who practices both the spiritual and physical attributes of the Jewish faith. And it's also just incredibly interesting, especially fasting for one day, which I've never actually done before. So it was a great project.